This year saw the cancellation of numerous live events, for the obvious reasons, others for some different reasons. But I am disappointed that we didn't get to see E3 this year, mostly for schadenfreude reasons. I mean, come on, it was going to be a disaster. However, we have gotten numerous smaller, or more focused events in place of that. I like this. I wouldn't mind if we didn't have E3 at all anymore and did more focused digital showcases. I bring this all up because I watched one called EEK3, presented by the Haunted PS1 community. It was great, but if you know me, I am big baby. Many first-person horror games are too spooky for me. I would much rather watch someone else play them. I appreciate the aesthetic, tone, and/or story of these games. They usually sit in my library, receiving my appreciation, but without me ever actually touching them. There were some titles that stood out to me as something I could play, not so directly scary. I mean, who doesn't want to play Ultra Kill? But the showcase did my favorite thing a presentation of pure hype can do. Showed me games that I can buy and play right now. Of that group, one specifically jumped out at me as something I needed to get my hands on. I bought it right away, and then had to wait a while because sometimes you get busy in life. But as soon as I played it, I was all the way in. This is why I love Stars Die. I want you to play this game, to see it and experience it for yourself. I will not be going into analysis, and I will be trying to avoid spoilers as best I can. The game is $5, and considering how hard life can be at times, if you can't afford that, you can get the game for free. Just look at the itch.io page for all that info. Hopefully you can afford the $5, as this game deserves the monetary support. This feels weird to give my recommendation before I even tell you what this game is. Well, gameplay and mechanics-wise, this game is kind of a hybrid of walking simulator and visual novel. You are Dabowski, someone headed toward a mysterious island for, initially, mysterious reasons. There you are, free to wander around an alien landscape and explore. You'll quickly stumble upon a small cast of characters that are already there. This is how the story unfolds, the visual novel aspect of it being the conversations. If you follow the early threads characters give you, you'll be introduced to the entire cast. Eldridge, the security mercenary type, Yugi, the team doctor, and I really apologize for that pronunciation, and Rig and Miyazawa, both different scientists of some kind. Each character is pursuing their own goals, basically following their own story. You can choose how much of a role you would like to play in each of their story paths, but these individuals are fairly set in their convictions and will chase their goals regardless of the influence you exert on them. The story progresses at its own pace, letting you choose what you want to take part in. Granted, people usually give you a decent amount of time to join them, and there aren't too many choices in where to be in parts of the story. This makes sense, because there are only 4 characters outside of the player, and everyone is on an island that isn't enormous. The setting and background for this game are both very cool. The island that the game takes place on is very alien feeling, which is great, considering it's some kind of alien island that landed in Earth's ocean. The game's art style is part of this new haunted PS1 aesthetic. I think this works exceptionally for something that is trying to feel unknown or even unknowable. The muddy textures, the not exactly clear shapes, just the way it looks brings about a feeling of otherworldliness. You can spend some time roaming around the island and see all the strange things that are a part of it, or growing out of it. There is a base camp area with some sort of makeshift lab, which appears so out of place because it's got clean-cut lines and a very understandable design, especially when it's being placed here. The story background is vague in a great way. It helps build a sense of dread about the world you are in and provides a bit of urgency to the island you're exploring. There was some cataclysmic disaster called the Hole. This thing is causing deaths of many people all over the globe, and it doesn't exactly sound like a nice kind of death either. This is the reason most of the people are on this island. They hope to find an answer to the hole here, which explains why the team is 2 scientists and a doctor. The game really nails the tone of eldritch horror. The designs are alien, the problems seem insurmountable. This is all aided by the ominous industrial soundtrack, which just fits so well, and pieces come in at just the right time to really hammer a feeling home. I honestly just think that this game is a very well crafted piece of art, combining all the pieces into something greater than the sum of its parts. I don't want to delve too deeply into any further parts of the story, but it should be pretty obvious that this game has 4 main endings, one associated with each of the characters. As you progress and they learn more about the island, they only become more set in their ways. Each of them knows what must be done here, and you can choose to follow with any of those storylines as you see fit. As you interact with characters, you see they are pursuing clashing ideologies. So, the first time, I chose an ideology that was most interesting to me, and I chased it. But I did end up wanting to jump right back in to see what the endings for the other characters would be. This game isn't very long. If you focus completely on finishing one storyline, it takes a little less than an hour. I think I have a little over 3 hours of playtime, and I've seen all the endings. It is interesting to see how everyone's story plays out, even if you don't agree with what they think. I think there is a lot of room for discussion about the meanings and what happens to each character, but I really want you to play this game, so we aren't going to do that. I guess if someone ever wanted that from me, I could do that. I wanted to somehow bring up that I had a very nice conversation with the developer of this game, as a form of disclosure and to mention the ideas they told me. But most of that has to do with the character motivations and their endings. So now this just becomes an awkward insert into the video. But I guess the most important takeaway from my chat with the dev is that they wanted to show off that the games revolving around walking and talking can still be very engaging. And in that, the game is a success, because I was enraptured. See, I made this insert relevant in the end. This game is stellar. It is set in an interesting world and takes place on a very interesting piece of it. The story was short and engaging. It made me want to see more of this world. The game evokes feelings just like any other good cosmic horror. The art, design, and music do a great job of enhancing those feelings. The game is also reasonably priced. What more could you want? If you like that PS1 aesthetic, are into cosmic horror, or just like existential questions, this game is worth looking at. The developer even has goals of bringing it to Steam, eventually, and I'm ready to spend my money all over again. Seriously, go give this game a look. I've included a link to the itch.io page in the description, and buy it if you can. Maybe share it around to others. It really deserves some love. Okay everyone, thanks for watching. I really wanted this video out much earlier, as I had figured out a lot of what I wanted to say in a pretty short amount of time. But then life happened. I hurt my back, and most everything except trying to get better fell to the back burner. But obviously I'm better now, considering you're seeing this video. I still have some ideas of what to do next, as this game kind of jumped the queue with how much I enjoyed it. So, look forward to my next video, in a hopefully reasonable amount of time.